It's another episode of Caribbean Sports Gallery, and today we continue the discussion: West Indies cricket, the state of it, the captaincy, and everything that makes West Indies cricket and a great West Indies team. It's your boy Robert and Riza, your boys, but we also have with us a well-respected sports journalist in the Caribbean, Astil Renn, and you will be getting some information up from Astil about what he thinks, what the public's view may be, and what makes a great team or breaks a great team. But lots of information that you may not get anywhere else. Stay tuned, you're going to be getting it here on Caribbean Sports Gallery. So, Riza, what's up with you today?
Great man, great man. It's wonderful to be back on Caribbean Sports Gallery for our
Caribbean
second
Sports Gallery.
consecutive show. And we have what I call one of the biggest all-rounders in Trinidad and
Yeah,
world cricket, Mr.
yeah.
Astil Renn. I'm sure the listening audiences will have a great time listening to Astil Renn this morning.
Well, most definitely. But let's hear from Astil. Astil, what's up with you? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us a little insight. Uh, who is Astil Renn?
Well, thank you so much, Robert, and thank you so much for the rest of the team, Reza, and I know Dr. Z. Thank you so much for having me on your show. As you mentioned before, I am Astil Renn, and I can see here a picture of myself and Andre Russell, the Superman of the IPL and of T20 cricket around the world. This picture was taken out about a year ago when we went to the airport to welcome home the local team, that is the Red Force.
Red
And they did a
Force.
tremendous job. I remember that, Risa. But just to come back to me, I have over 25 years experience in broadcasting. I did radio, television, print. You call it, I've done it, and I understand it. And plus, I played a little bit of cricket, a small amount of cricket at national level, and I played with one of the best players you could in the world. I played with Larry Gomes. He was my captain at one time,
Oh,
and
great, wonderful.
at club level. So that is where I understood cricket. I played with Prince Bartholomew. I played with Sheldon Gomes. I played with a fast bowler by the name of Issa Maruka. You name it. I played with Alec Burns. I played with and against these fellas, and I faced some of the best fast bowlers in the Caribbean during my younger days. But as you mentioned, I'm flattered when you say I am an all-rounder. I'm just a simple journalist trying to look at things and call it like it is, because I find too many sports journalists in local, they are not too keen on calling it like it is and looking at it and examining the whole structure of West Indies cricket. Follow West Indies
Well,
cricket for
Astil,
it's
I
a
like I
joy.
like that word you use. I like that was used to examine, because that is what we're going to do today. We did some of that last episode, and we're going to continue examining what is taking place at the captaincy level, the selection, and what makes a great team leader, as I said before. So we're going to have a good, nice, frank discussion. Ariza, you can butt in here and let's get this thing going.
Yes,
Robert, I
man,
like that. I
certainly.
like that. I like that.
Astel, it's great to have you on board, man. I mean, we have been friends for so long. We have shared so many views on West Indian cricket in and out of, the Caribbean, all over the world. But as I said, the focus today, again, as Robert was saying, is this captaincy issue. And we all know about the recent appointment of Roston Chase, the 38th West Indian Test captain, and the 10th Barbadian to be appointed West Indian captain. But before we talk to Chase, let us just touch on his predecessor, Mr. Craig Brathwaite. Now, Brathwaite captained the test side, 39 tests, won 10. He lost 22 with a win-loss percentage of 25%. Now, in terms of his test record, Brathwaite is scored 5,900 runs, 1,200 in 98 tests at an average of 33. Now, Astel, we didn't hear particularly straight on from Brathwaite why he resigned, but the Cricket West Indies spoke about his resignation as the Australian tour comes in. What is your assessment, first of all, of Craig Brathwaite's captaincy and his overall, let's say, performance?
Riza, I think I like that question because, in our discussions elsewhere and all over, I was never impressed with Craig Brathwaite as a captain because I think he lacked aggression. He lacked that tactical approach. What is needed for to become a West Indies captain? I was never a fan of him when as his captain, his captaincy. His batting, I think he's just average. He has one thing going for him is he has a very strong sense of concentration. He can concentrate for long, long hours, but he isn't blessed with fluent stroke play. He isn't blessed with that type of flair that we are accustomed seeing in our opening batsmen as Gordon Greenwich, Desmond Haynes. And if you go back to Joey Carew, Peter Lashley, Robin Bino, when you go back to these fellas, Conrad Hunt, he isn't blessed with these things. But he was entrusted with a team that isn't talented as he did. And when you have a team, when you're leading a team and you are limited and your players are limited, then you realize that you are in trouble, in serious trouble, if he doesn't get off, if he doesn't spend time at the wicket. And I think his captaincy, I just needed to see a little more from him because one of the things that always have me amazed is that Brathwaite will bowl 7 bowlers on the opening day of a test match. 7 bowlers. I mean, how in heaven's name you have 7 bowlers bowling on the opening day of a test match? And it's just 11 players. So I mean, the keeper, him, and sometimes he comes on and bowl, and he just bowl his lollipop of breaks, and hoping to buy a wicket. When you look at a captain as Joey Carew, which I had the pleasure of spending time with Joey Carew, you see these fellas make a captain have to make things happen. Captains have to make things happen. They have to foresee. You have to have foresight. You have to study batsmen, study teams, study the approach. Look at the wicket in which you are blowing in, and look at the type of bowlers you have. And this thing, as I thought Brathwaite lacked. I don't know if that is why he was given the captaincy, if he displayed that in Barbados, but on the field of play during test matches, which I have looked at, I think he was caught wanting. About his resignation, I think I thought it was long overdue, and he believed now that he is a spent horse as far as captaincy is concerned, and the Australians are coming and they're going to further expose him. So he decided to give it up and concentrate on his batting. Let's see how good his batting will come to the fore. But I believe, as we say in local parlance, he smelled the rat.
I love the way you put that. But which brings the question, with Roston Chase appointment. What message you think that appointment sends about the criteria for leadership in the West Indies cricket, especially given the fact that he has been inconsistent. His presence has been inconsistent in the team.
Robert, I like that question because leadership is something which we have lacked in the Caribbean. We have lacked leadership in the classroom. We lack leadership at home. We lack leadership on the football field, on the cricket field. Every area of the Caribbean lifestyle, we have lacked leadership. We don't have men coming to the forefront and saying, "I am here. I'm a leader." You find fellas are too relaxed, too withdrawn, and that is translated onto the field of play when it comes to captaincy and leadership, when it comes to leadership in the Caribbean. And whatever you have taking place in the society, it happens on the field on the sporting field. And that is where we are suffering badly. You look around, Robert, Reza and Dr. Z, you look around. How many leaders do we have in our little community, in this community, Trinidad and Tobago? How many leaders do we have? How many serious leaders? You look at the schools. Reza, you are a former school teacher. How many leaders can you point coming from that school? Look at our University of the West Indies. There are so many campuses around the Caribbean. How many leaders coming out there? We have followers, men willing to follow. Nobody willing to dig deep and say and what I tell you to, they hide behind it and say, "Oh, leaders are born." Leaders, that what they say. Leaders are born. Gone are those days. You have to identify people who can lead and nurture them, bring them to the fore. But let's come to the Roston Chase issue. I have nothing against Roston Chase. He didn't pick himself as captain, so let us get that out of the way. Roston Chase, I have nothing personally against Roston Chase. But the procedure in which Roston Chase was elected as West Indies captain hurts me. A man had been away from West Indies cricket for 2 years, and a man who admitted publicly that he went away for 2 years to concentrate on ODI and on T20 cricket, and lo and behold, he emerges now, 2 years later, as West Indies red ball captain. That has to be madness. That is scandalous. That has to be scandalous. You have Clive Lloyd, the most successful West Indies captain, saying, and Lloyd is a diplomat. I'm not a diplomat. I'm a sports writer. I have to call it like it is. I have to ask hard questions. Lloyd said he finds it odd, very odd
Yes,
indeed. I don't find
absolutely.
it odd. I find the procedure to be scandalous. Just imagine they shortlisted 6 players, 6 candidates for the job, and Roston Chase admitted in an interview that was carried around the world that he was called by Darren Sammy and given the job, offered the job. Say,
Wow.
hey, I'm Roston. I have this job here. Do you want it? But yet there are 6 men on the list. How in heaven's name, what do we expect to happen in West Indies cricket when these things are happening? Someone once told me, they said, whatever happened in the boardroom is reflected on the field of play. Dublin was a typical example. Sammy's first game in charge, he got a drubbing. 100 and how much runs? 149, 24 runs licking. It shows clearly that when you deal badly, and they talk about transparency and talk about consistency, if you're not dealing right with players and with administrators, once there is confusion and chaos in the boardroom at the administrative level, it is reflected on the field of play. I played cricket for a team called Arima Sporting Club, and anytime we have confusion within the club, it shows on the field of play.
And I want to support that, and I'm sure Reese will support that too. Once the top end gelling, we're gonna see it, right, because it starts at the management level. Management must be sound and doing the right things. And Reese, you could back me up here on this.
Oh yes, definitely. Sound leadership, I mean, doesn't come overnight. It comes from practice. But Astil, I just want to go further. Out of the, I mean, the 6 candidates, we mentioned Justin Graves, Joshua De Silva, John Campbell, Jamel Warrican, who's the vice captain, and Tevin Imlap. Who was your pick for the captaincy, given all the constraints and situations surrounding the final choice of Roston Chase? What's your pick?
Let me get this clear before I answer that question.
Yeah.
If every West Indian on the West Indies team comes from Grenada, if every West Indian comes from Jamaica and makes up the 11, I have no problem. Once every man there is worthy of his pick, is worth his salt on the team, I have no problem. I'm a Trinidadian, and I will tell you something. When I look at the 6 candidates there,
right,
the only man I thought who was being groomed for the job is Joshua De Silva. And that was my pick, Joshua De Silva,
right,
because Joshua did the A team. He won the breakout series. He played for the West Indies. He was dropped to go to Pakistan, but he came back and he answered with his bat. And that is what the old players did in the past. When you drop a player like Desmond Haynes and Gordon Greenwich from a test team, they come back and they answer with the bat. He scored 3 consecutive regional hundreds, and he showed them that he's back on it, and his glove work was quite good, and his captaincy needed some bit polishing up here and there, as all captains do. But I thought he was the right man for the job. But yeah, lo and behold, Chase was pulled out of the bag. I don't know why. And I mean, but how can a man be away from cricket for 2 years and come back into red ball cricket? Chess cricket, you know. Reza, let me tell you this. Robert, let me tell you this. And Dr. Z, this is not T20 cricket, you know. This is not fat mass cricket, you know.
This is real McCoy.
It is a real thing. It is where
That's the real McCoy.
It is the test against you. It is a test that you face, bat and ball, your endurance, your tactical ability, your ability to understand the game, to see moves on the field when the captain trying to set you up. This is not no small thing. That's why they call it test cricket. It is the
Test.
ultimate test of a cricketer. And yet, lo and behold, we have Roston Chase, which I have to live with. I have nothing against Roston Chase. I mean, to me, he's a good player, but I still think that Roston Chase needs to work on his physical aspect. I mean, he gives you the impression that he can break down anytime, you know. And I don't know. I mean, and he gives me that impression. I could be wrong.
Well,
But
you
Astil,
think-
you have played the game, you have been in and around the game, so your assessment is critical here. You are going to be seeing things where he's concerned that I may not see or the average man may not see. So I guess it's a wait and see thing with him, because
definitely.
where do we go from here?
But where do we go from? Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
As you touched on, Joshua De Silva, Campbell, and a couple other people, they were left out of the short list, and this guy's name was pulled out of the bag. Somebody may have seen or heard something or that we don't know.
Robert, let me just interrupt you a minute there. Warrican was named the vice captain. What
Mhm.
did Warwick? Has he led any team in the Caribbean? Has Warrican been at the helm of any team? The only thing Warrican did was in Pakistan. And you know
Correct.
what administrators and what West Indies officials are not seeing, and I believe you me, is that Warrican was the the pitch in Pakistan was prepared for the Pakistan spinners. And the Pakistan spinners didn't use the wicket to their advantage. But Warrican was smart enough to use the wicket, because what he did, he tends to push the ball a lot, push it through to you.
Mm.
But when you realize that the ball is turning big and bouncing and turning, Warrican decided to slow it up and let the ball do the, as we say in cricket, let the ball do the work.
Mhm.
The Pakistanis cricketers thought that, okay, they get a good wicket, they go push it, and it will go past the batsmen defenses and get the wicket. It didn't work. Warrican was smart enough to do that. But that is a one-off game. That's a one-off series. We love this series. So you can't put a man to be a test captain who isn't sure to be on the team for the next game. Because you have a left-arm spinner called Gulekish Muti, who I think is a better spinner. But just that
Mhm.
Warrican worked it well in Pakistan. And people
Pitch.
and you have commentators thinking it's big. It's the same thing happened to Sharma Joseph in Australia. We caught the Australians sleeping because they thought they won the game already overnight. But Sharma Joseph is not going to repeat that kind of feat again. Never, never again, because every batsman, every team in the world now will be looking at him. And he has to be a Dennis Lilly, a Jeff Thompson, a Malcolm Marshall. No, I have nothing against him. He's a good prospect, young, strong, and willing to learn. But he has to have that, yeah, you have to have that cutting edge. And sometimes when we don't have the cutting edge and we succeed, people think that you're rigid up, that you are good as Malcolm Marshall or Wes Hall
Mhm.
or Andy Roberts. But you're far from that. But just that,
Far from there.
that day was your day. I mean, I played the game, so I tell you, some days I walk to the wicket and the first ball hit the middle of the bat, they can't out me at all, I bat whole day. And some days I walk to the wicket, the first ball beat the bat, and I struggle to get to 25, I struggle to get to 20. Struggling now. But they say only the great ones struggle and still score hundreds. I used to do that.
Well said. So here what we're going to do, we're going to just delve a little bit in our sport highlight as we take a look at cricket history. And this week in cricket history, an iconic moment you don't want to miss. That's right, we are talking about Roland Butcher, the first black cricketer to represent England. He launched his powerful new book on April 29th at the Queen's Park Savannah right here in Trinidad. And back in March 1981, Butcher broke the barriers and made history as he stepped onto the field for England, forever changing the face of international cricket. Now, decades later, cricket fans and legends gathered to honor his history, and that is Caribbean cricket history. And I think we should
Robert,
all
I
be very
I
proud
have one correction
of
to that.
history.
One correction to that. Roland Butcher wasn't the first black man to play for England. The first black man to play for England was a fellow called Basil d'Oliveira. D'Oliveira came on a tour here. He was from South Africa. Roland Butcher is the first black Caribbean man to play for the West.
Caribbean man.
Caribbean man.
Appreciate that correction.
Yeah, the first black cricketer to play for England was Basil d'Oliveira. You can, I mean, sorry if I, but I couldn't sit here and yet because
Well, he's been touted as the first colored man, Basil Oliveira, in 1968. But
colored is black.
Roland, we could check that again. But the first black, real, I mean, the true sense of black. Basil was a man of mixed heritage. But we could check that later.
Well, okay, yeah.
All right.
That is. But it's, black is black.
Yeah, that's just a little what you call.
That's just between hairs.
Yeah,
but
we I have met I met Baz Roland on the 29th for the launch.
Roland,
lots of being good people, and you could see the emotion in him because he did in that book Breaking Barriers. He really talked about the struggles, and if you remember March 7, 1981. Being his test debut at Kensington Oval, Astil. You know, that was the match where Michael Holding rattled and spread eagle the stumps of Jock Boycott. It was the same match.
Yes.
Roland remembers that so well. Said he lucky he wasn't in the middle of that spell of Michael Holding. But Roland is on a wide tour of the UK right now, and it's going very successful. And we hope to see him in Trinidad again. But it was a marvelous occasion at the Queen's Park Oval on April the 29th.
Oh, yes. But a friend of mine pointed out something to me. He said the iconic Roland Butcher, and he questioned the word iconic because something about West Indian journalists and local journalists, they use words loosely now.
Okay.
They use words as great and legendary and iconic. And my friend was saying he did not think that Roland Butcher was iconic. He thought he was very good. He was pretty good. But I mean, that's what my friend is saying. I mean, I just stand in the middle.
Yes.
But you know, Astil and Reese, I want to go back a little bit. Craig Brathwaite's resignation.
Yeah.
Do you think that resignation suggests in some way of more issues or more problem with the team management? And do you think those factors, were they fully disclosed or will they be disclosed? Because when you have captain resigns abruptly like that, and now you talk about it up front, you say maybe he's aware of the upcoming tour and what he has to face. But do you think that management, that there's an issue there with the management at the top that would have fueled that resignation?
Well, I would say no, because when I looked at every press conference post-match of Craig Brathwaite after a test match and after a day's play and after hearing him after a tour, it seemed like if he was coming to the end, he was getting frustrated. He was getting very, very disheartened leading the West Indies team because every time he comes with the same rhythm, the same beat. The boys didn't show up. This didn't there. That blah 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 blah. And you saw it in his expression. But behind the scenes, I thought he was getting all the support from the backroom staff, from CWI to the current staff that was on tour with him. I thought he was given everything he wanted. It's just that the players and himself didn't click. I mean, when I say him, the players, the team did not deliver. And he felt it because if you're the leader and every time you come to a press conference, you come to say the boys didn't show up and the boys didn't do this and we fall short by 40 and 50 runs. After a while, it becomes a broken record. And you yourself will say, it's time to walk away and let somebody else lead. So I don't think, I think he was given all the support, all the backroom support, all CWI support. But there's a Craig Brathwaite reached the end of the rope for him.
And you know, I would have heard those comments a couple times, and you know, when you are in leadership, I was told one time leadership is a lonely spot, but you must be able to command your troops, and your troops must be comfortable, because making comments like that once to the press, twice to the press, then your troops, they too may get fed up and they may have some kind of psychological setback. Reese, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, you know, Robert, as we talk about what Astil just mentioned, or the psychology of this captaincy, gentlemen, I just want to read out something here, which is quite noticeable. Astil, between 2007 to 2025, the West Indies have had 5 full-fledged captains: Chris Gale, Sammy, Ramdin, Holder, and now Craig Brathwaite has reset. Their win-loss percentage starting from Gale, 15%, Sammy 26%, Ramdin 30%, Holder 29%, and Craig Brathwaite 25%. Does that mention to you or signal to you something is really in terms of the crisis? There exists a crisis of leadership, Astil Renn?
Yes, it tells me there is a crisis at the top, leadership. But it also tells me there's a crisis. The players are not prepared well for Test cricket. I don't know if it's the domestic season, the regional season, but Reza, tell me something. You have players playing at the regional level. When they go to Test cricket, their bowling action is called into action, is called into play. It's called for suspect bowling. It means that they come to the club level, they come to the regional level, and when they get to the Test level, then they realize that it means that there is a disjoint somewhere along the line. And apart from having a crisis in leadership, because like I tell you how I started my discourse, we have a leadership crisis in the Caribbean, in our homes, in the schools, in our companies. There's a crisis. But you can't, if your team produces good players, technically sound players, then sometimes the captaincy becomes a little easier because you score 400 runs, they score 375, they score 500 runs, and your bowler can pick up 5 wickets. But when you have players who are technically deficient, and we have that in the Caribbean, and like I mentioned before, and let me mention it now, a West Indies director once told me, I shared it with Reza many years ago. He told me many years ago, I shared it with Reza sometime. He told me that the coaching in the Caribbean is flawed. And Robert and Reza and Dr. Z, when I transverse this Trinidad and Tobago and I see what is passing as cricket academies, I cry. I see that some of them are not the basic thing about cricket. Cricket is a side-on game. It's a game where you get you pick up the line of the ball. It's a side-on game. I was taught that by all my coaches.
Basics.
That era. I am 60 plus now. But when you go wrong and you see what is happening, fellas don't understand. You can't play spin bowling. Spin bowling is the easiest thing in the world to play. And all you hear commentators, journalists, and some of the coaches telling you, use your feet. No, you can't use your feet for every ball. What you have to do, you have to assess where the ball is pitched. If the man is tossing it, you come down the wicket. If the man is short, it's back and across. And these are things that you don't hear, you don't see in West Indies cricket. You see that the Pakistanis do it, the Indians do it, the guys from New Zealand do it, the Australians do it. We are not doing it. Why? Because we believe in boom, 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 boom. And our coaches don't implant that. I never made a Trinidad team. I was in trials sometimes, but I never made that. But it was embedded in me. It is a side-on game. You have to get to the ball. You must get to the ball. You must be close to the ball. To play a square cut, you can't be a square leg and have your bat hanging at point. No, you have to get the point. And that is where we have a fundamental problem.
So Astil and Reese, I'm picking up on what Astil is saying there is the crisis is not just leadership. You are seeing coaching.
Yes.
Is of utmost importance. The coaches, you are suggesting here that the coaches are failing. They are not coming up to scratch. Because if you have a bad coach, then you cannot have a good team.
Because I mean, sometimes I laugh. I mean, I can't say some of the things I want to say here because I mean, some people I might be sued. But I mean, I have good lawyers to back me up. I mean, somebody, what you have happening in West Indies cricket, is a lot of men are being certified, but not
Mhm.
too many of them are qualified.
But
Certification
certification is
doesn't make
not
you a coach.
qualification, you know.
Yeah, certification doesn't
Certification
make
is
you a
not.
coach, you know.
No, it doesn't.
No, certification that just tell you that that you did a course. But qualification is when you go out and execute what you've been taught.
What you've been taught.
Yeah,
Um, I could butt in here, Robert.
please.
Feel free, feel
I
free.
just want, I mean, I have no problem with, of course, the level or the lack of quality of level of coaches. But Astil is an important question I want to put to you, because Andy Roberts, my good friend, always talks about it. How much how much can we, well, I mean, blame it, not a blame Israeli, but does the cricketers themselves, how much responsibility they have in terms of improving their game? And have they been doing that, let's say, the last 5, 10, 15 years? How much coaching is
Well,
fine, but are players taking the responsibility for their personal development?
well, Riza, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, players must take a personal responsibility for their developments.
Yes.
Must do that. And I've been advocating. I'm really the only one in Trinidad and Tobago been telling players, if you're having a problem, if you
Mhm.
want to go to the next level, you got to take time off. These fellas making enough money. These fellas could
Correct.
take a time off, right? If I'm a batsman, if I make any kind of money as any one of these guys are making, and I will take time off. I'll pick up the phone and call Gordon Greenwich. I call Desmond Hayes if I'm a batsman. I say, Desi, I come in and spend 3 weeks with you. I come in and spend a month with you because I want to go to the next level. I ain't looking for a next paycheck, you know. I want to
Right.
drive a Range Rover next week, you know. I want to leave a legacy and also be a rich man. But
Yes,
you only
yes.
hope that. I mean, I read just about 2 weeks ago that a player from India, a fast bowler from India, called Dennis Lilly in Melbourne, and he left India and go to Melbourne
Mhm.
to spend time with the great Dennis Lilly.
Mhm.
I cannot recall the guy's name. You have a very long name. But these are the
Yeah,
I've been
point.
telling players in the Caribbean, and when you say that on open forums, like it's something strange. Nobody takes it on. Our sports writers don't even encourage our players. When I get one-on-one with our Caribbean players or West Indies players, like when I met Devon Smith, just to divert a little. Devon Smith many years ago. Phil Simmons and I came to the ranks together. Phil was my junior opening partner. Phil Simmons, who is now
Mhm.
the coach, he was my junior opening partner. Very good friend of mine. Phil Simmons and I, we were, West Indies were playing against England or somebody, and Devon Smith was in the team. And Phil used to have a skipping rope. He always walked with a pair skipping rope.
Mhm.
One had the handle and one was gone. And we were talking about it. And I told Devon, I said, Devon, it's time to do some skipping to really get to improve your footwork. Phil Simmons did that. Told him that also. About 2 or 3 months after I met Devon Smith, Devon said, Mr. Reporter, I take your advice. The man knocked out four consecutive centuries because he took the advice that these are things that you got to do. You have to take a personal interest in your development. If you don't do that, then you'll end up as what's happening now. We go from series to series to series, and fellas are not improving. They're all the same way in the first test to the fifth test. They're all the same way against Pakistan, against New Zealand. So that is where, as Reza rightfully pointed out, and you, Robert, we need to have, fellas need to take a personal interest. And how you do that? You take time off from the game. You pull away yourself from the IPL, from going down to India or Pakistan or Bangladesh or wherever it is. And you spend a month with the greats. If you're a fast bowler, go to Andy Roberts, and he will open you with, and spend a month, rent a little room, rent a little old car, so you won't have to spend much money. And Andy will teach you everything that he learned, that he knows. But fellas are not doing that. Fellas feel if they leave cricket for 1 month, they wouldn't come back to the game because the whole psyche is not on legacy, on
On
improving.
legacy.
The psyche is on the next paycheck, is on the is on the IPL. That is
Big
where the
point.
psyche is. That's sad
But
to say. Go ahead.
I still we have we have a new captain,
Yeah.
a new vice captain, and we are well aware of the status, where they have been, how they have been, the level of performance. But we have some tours coming up and we are expected to win matches. How do you think those two guys at the top, how do you think their appointment going to affect the morale of the team? Because as you pointed out, you would have established everything from the absence to the flaws, but they are going to be leading. And we have a team that we want to win matches. Do you think, in your own words and your assessment, will they work for the team or will it have a negative impact on the team? On
I'll
the
tell you
psyche
something, Robert.
and morale of the team?
I'll tell you something. I mean, no West Indian player goes out and wants to do bad. But if you're not properly prepared for battle, prepare to fail.
Mhm.
If you every West Indian player will tell you he wants to succeed. But if you're not properly prepared, there's an old adage that said, if you fail to prepare, prepare to fail. And
Prepare
it's
to
not
fail.
preparing for a 1-month campaign. Playing Test cricket is a lifelong vision until your career comes to an end. Until your career comes, it's a lifelong living. So it has to start from the primary school coming up to you, and you're coming through the ranks. So you're learning different things. And when you reach the Test cricket, then why do you think the Australians, men like David Hossey and his brother Michael, they enter Test cricket with 20,000 state runs, you know? How many players in the Caribbean could enter from regional cricket, go onto the Western team with even 6,000 runs? How many of them? Men average 16.5 and they're making a test team? I mean, no. To answer your question directly is that these fellas will give off their best. We'll have sparks here and there. We'll have moments that we will feel good. And then we'll have lots of moments where we say, this ain't making sense. And you know, there's a song, Rally on the West Indies.
Rally on the West Indies.
We've been rallying for more than 30 years now.
We have
Rallying
been.
around
We
the
have
West
been.
Indies. They're rather tired singing, right? But it's tough. It's tough. But these fellas, they will give off their best, but maybe their best will not be good enough because their preparation.
Well, those are lyrics in a song, you know. I give my best, but I guess my best wasn't good enough. Reese, I'm not hearing you, bro. You're silent.
I wasn't aware of that.
No, I mean, Astil hitting boundaries like rain this morning.
You understand?
But but I mean, as we come into the end, of course, Astil, I know we spoke about this off the off the air. That interview process, which featured the director of cricket, the chairman of the CWI cricket committee, the head coach Sammy, the CEO Chris Daring. Those interviews, from what I've read, took place behind closed doors and something called psychometric testing. Now, I looked up this word, Robert, and psychometric is concerned with the objective measurement of latent constructs which cannot be directly observed, includes intelligence and introversion and education. Astil, have you ever heard about those kind and type of interviews in the past selection of West Indian captains?
Well, Riza, I did the same. When I read it, I went to the dictionary to understand what's the meaning of that word psychometric. And what I came up with, I think these fellas, these West Indies officials, they're taking the 5 million people in the Caribbean for fools.
Oh gosh.
Because when Clive was selected as a West Indies captain, did he go through that process? They saw Clive had everyone around the Caribbean, so Clive was a leader. Forbes Bonham was the man who took him from Australia and brought him home. And I heard, I'm not sure about this one, but Clive Lloyd went to the University of West Indies to understand Caribbean people, how to mold and shape people from different islands together, the different cultures, different twangs. If you look at Clive Lloyd's way of leadership, Robert and Dr. Z, if you all ever saw Clive, look at any tape. Clive Lloyd never with the team, you know. Clive Lloyd always 6 or 7 meters ahead of the team, you know. He sends a message to them is that I'm in charge. He don't walk out with the team, He walks in front. And he had a great team, He had powerful personalities. Right? So that means that when we come back to our officials, the CWI, I mean, among those I love I haven't met Dr. Shallow in person, but I think he's a nice man. From what I've read and things. And I have met Chris Jering. Chris Jering is Mr. Caribbean, Mr. Cricket. He's the one who brought the World Cup 2007 World Cup to the Caribbean. He went to Lords, and Chris Jering has West Indies at heart. But I mean, only two. I mean, what the rest? I mean, where this big set of world come from? We don't want every time West Indies win a match, you could go in any bar and get a free drink. Everybody's smiling. When West Indies lost the match, everybody vexed. But I mean, where they get this from? Where they get this from? Gary Sobers, Michael Joy Carew, Clive Lloyd, call the leaders, Brian Charles Lara. I mean, though Lara record was thing, but you saw the ability among. They ever did that type of test, that psychometric test. But I mean, what happened to them is to some of our Caribbean officials. They use words sometimes to think that you and I, you, Reza, Robert, and Dr. C, that we are fools, that we didn't go to school. But my father spent time to send me to school. I paid to go to school. My father paid school fees so that I understood that and you understood that. So where that come out from? That is a choice. When Sammy was when Sammy was just a train that when Sammy was elected or selected as West Indies T20 captain, did he go through that process? And he went 2 World Cups.
Never heard of it.
He won 2 World Cups, 2012 and 2016. So all of a sudden, when they want to push their player, their man, they come and they tell you all kind of fancy thing. This one failed that test and that one failed that test. But where was Chase for 2 years? That is what riding me for the. I mean, I wish the West Indies team well. I wish Roston Chase well, but the team is not prepared well because you have a leader who has been away from red ball cricket for 2 years. When he gets on the field there with Pat Cummings is a strategist. He understands man management. It's very few fast bowlers become captain. Only Courtney Walsh and very
right,
few.
So,
that is where it's gonna happen. Okay. Sorry about that.
No,
I'm still on a roll. I'm still on a roll, Robert.
Listen, there's nothing to be sorry about. You are telling it like it is. You are a true sports journalist and you are true to your word. Yeah? So, but we cannot have Astil here just once, We've got to bring back this guy, Sometime in the very near future, we've got to do another episode with Astil Renn because I'm really enjoying the direction in which this episode went this morning. Yeah? So,
I am a true West Indian fan. I love West Indies. The only team I support in the world is West Indies, Only team I support in the world is West Indies. I love West Indies cricket because I was destined. I wanted to become a West Indian player. I wanted, that was my dream to be West Indian opening batsman. That was my dream. And when it didn't happen, I became a sports writer. But when I see this,
and a very good one at that, a very good sports writer at that. So,
I mean, thank you so much for your compliment.
Astil, I have listened to you on TV, 2 different channels, and I always look forward to hearing your reporting, hearing the manner in which you would put things across. Reese, but we have to wrap up, yeah? But
yes.
We're gonna find time to bring back Astil. We have to continue talking about Astil sometime in the very near future, maybe as the tests get going. We're gonna be looking at it. So, guys,
January 25th, first test at Kensington against Australia.
So we'll be looking forward to that.
I'm just a phone call away. If I'm here or wherever I am, I'm just a phone call away. I'll make myself available.
Great. Wonderful. So, guys, see you next week for another exciting episode in the Caribbean Sports Gallery. Remember to like us or not to like us. We are happy with these two, but still share and subscribe for an honest look at what's happening in sports in the Caribbean and the world.
next time.